motion here tonight to the council, following contact with several people that have got themselves into financial difficulty in recent times. And hearing, I've heard different experiences, and from children of people that have experienced it from their parents being in debt, and some of the experiences that happen in these situations. I would say I think Harlow Council does a really good job working with people who do end up in financial difficulty for whatever reason. And I think we have some really good schemes going on. We've got a good policy. That doesn't mean we can't improve it. So I thought I've looked into it and brought the Stop the Knock campaign, which is a campaign by the Money Advice Trust, who are widely recognised as the voluntary service experts on debt and how to get out of debt, on what steps local authorities can do, in particular around trying to end and curtail some of the practice around bailiffs. There's lots of ways and techniques to collect debt, and it should never be the case that someone that can pay won't pay. The people should pay their council tax and should pay their rent and contribute to society. However, the way in which we collect money is at the discretion of the council. And I look at some local authorities that in recent years, Hammersmith and Fulham trialled for a year a scheme which was reducing the use of bailiffs for any of their debt. At the end of the year, they found it worked so well, they actually stopped the use of bailiffs altogether. They founded and worked with another group to work in a different way, which is in a partnership way with those that are in debt, and they've actually increased the money that they bring in debt collection. The Bristol also followed suit by banning the use of bailiffs. So this isn't a pledge to completely ban, this is a choose to look at how we work it ethically. So actually the council meets some of these criteria that is laid out, and we do we have a welfare panel which helps provide support. We do assess people, although I believe that we should work towards using the recommended, and I know the officers are doing that, to be in line, so that we're working across a national framework about where debt is and what is a reasonable amount to be repaid. I think particularly for those that are most vulnerable, I think if you are in debt, if you're in debt with your council tax or rent, the reality is you're probably in debt with credit cards, you're probably in debt with your bills, there's other issues going on, and you've probably ignored the calls and the letters and the emails from different organisations. If you're in benefits and you're in limited things, having that knock on the bailiff adds £150 most times at first knock, and adds it every future knock. I've been on the cabinet and I've sat there when I've had debts that the council had. We put out to a team of bailiffs, added £600-700 they've been unable to collect. That's come back to us, and we've then had to write that off. I always think that if you can pay, you should pay. But I think we can work ethically in doing this, and I hope the council will support this tonight. I think we've got a long way to go forward on how we do that and how we work with some of our most vulnerable residents going forward.
You want to speak now, or? Okay. Councillor Charles.
Thank you, Chair. I think problem debt is often difficult to escape and can have devastating impact on people who have existing issues, including family problems or perhaps poor mental health. It is only right that people who fall into problem debt are helped to find a sustainable, long-lasting plan to solve their debt problems. I think it's also fair to say, irrespective of political colour in this administration, the council does have a good record at referring people to citizens' advice, and of course the welfare panel regularly engages with vulnerable people on a regular basis, and their work should be recognised tonight. Looking at the Money Advice Trust website, it shows that in 1819 Harlow Council instructed bailiffs to collect debts from individuals and businesses on nearly 4,000 occasions, an increase of 63% since 16 and 17. So that means that the council will need to make a significant adjustment in its debt collection methods, as I hope tonight this motion is carried unanimously by council. I think, and the group does, the Conservative group thinks, that the Stop the Knock 6 steps for local authorities are a constructive way to raise awareness of bailiffs' use and steps that can be taken to better support people in vulnerable circumstances. It is also true to say that the activity of bailiffs has been limited to a much greater degree since the government's reforms that were introduced in 2014. Such reforms included bailiffs being banned from entering homes when only children are present, and there is now mandatory training and a new certification process for all bailiffs, which I think is a positive step forward and has been enforced for a number of years now. Now, following the government's call for evidence this year regarding the 2014 bailiff reforms, potential future policy has now been outlined to beef up the current rules and regulations around how we monitor bailiffs. And there is there's a proposal put forward to establish a new independent regulator. I think the government has said that it intends to review the establishment of an independent regulator in due course and shall decide whether such an establishment is necessary to move forward and tackle issues around bailiff control. I think on the wider issues of helping those who find themselves in problem debt, I'm glad that the Government Commission Money Advice Service is spending over 56 million to provide debt advice to over 500,000 people. And then we had in June, the Treasury unveil a breathing space scheme that provides debtors with a 60-day period in which interest and charges on their debts are frozen and enforcement action from creditors is paused. And I have to say, I think that's a positive step forward, and I think all of Council can agree with that. Addressing the motion and the 6 steps directly, the Conservative group will be supporting the motion, and I would suggest that there is actually scope for some cross-party work to implement the 6 steps that have been outlined as a result of this campaign. I think in particular, step 4 that calls for a formal vulnerability policy to be established as a standalone document. We are willing, as part of a cross-party working group, to develop the policy if the administration is keen to proceed on that basis. So to conclude, Chair, I think the Conservative group believes that this council has a moral responsibility to do what it can to support vulnerable people to navigate debt problems, particularly those on the local council tax support scheme. When residents genuinely face difficulty paying their council tax, maybe through sadly unemployment or having low income, the council must adopt a proportionate response, show compassion, and be willing to offer a helping hand. I think the 6 steps we are discussing tonight offer a positive direction of travel. Thank you.
Councillor Davis.
Thank you, Chair. Obviously going to support this motion, but I just want to remind members about the Harlow Labour Credit Union that's put in place to encourage people to save and have cheap loans compared to the high street, and the council supports that because people pay through the payroll of Harlow Council and HDS and other organisations. I just remind people about that thing. Also, they also provide smart advice, and that's to engage with people that cannot manage their finances. And we've got quite a lot of people that are on the universal credit about their problems. As Councillor Charles has said about the welfare panel, that's both parties support the welfare panel, and we've done lots of work to engage with people that basically have been putting their head in the sand and not engaging until they're at risk of losing their house. And we've engaged with lots of people, put them on the right track, and that's been good for them, and it's been good for us. So that's all I really want to say, Chair, is that just to remind people about these other avenues where we do support people. Thank you.
Councillor Chisholm.
Hiya. I'm not going to come at you with loads of facts and statistics and numbers, because I primarily think this is, well, namely about being a bit more compassionate in the way that we deal with things. But I think this is a great opportunity for the council to adopt the 6 pledges from the Stop the Knock campaign, from making a commitment to the use of to reducing the use of bailiffs over time, offering those who are struggling with their payments and support, signposting them to the relevant agencies who are able to offer support and guidance in need, as well as put in place policy that helps vulnerable people and residents in difficult circumstances. And by implementing these 6 pledges of this motion, I believe this will help build a better relationship with the residents of Harlow and the council. And from that we can build a more transparent and less kind of, I don't know what the word is, but process when it comes to collecting payments from those who have fallen behind. I'd like to reiterate what Councillor Tull said, and a lot of these people, their debt with the council isn't their only debt. If you've not got personal experience of it, you only have to watch like programmes like kind of, I don't want to say the words, poverty porn, Can't Pay Will Take It Away, for you to see the kind of level of trauma and anxiety that bailiff action actually does cause. And if we're able to take away that particular level of anxiety, our primarily vulnerable people who are fearful of bailiff action from day to day, I think it's certainly something that we should do, which is why I'm seconding this motion, and I do massively support it, and I hope you all do too. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to welcome the comments that Councillor Charles made and his warm words of support for this motion that Councillor Tull has brought forward. Clearly, if Harlow Council can do something to prevent problem debt becoming more of a problem and help people out of debt, we should be doing it. That is the right moral case. But I do think it's a bit rich that we hear probably 2 minutes of your 3-minute speech talking about how this Conservative government is doing so much to help relieve the burden of debt, when all the evidence shows that their botched rollout of universal credit has caused a massive increase in the debt that needs to be serviced.
Councillor Tull.
Thank you to everyone that's participated in the debate, and it was risky me not saying moving that my thanks to all of the council staff, particularly in the Revs and Ben's team, that do a huge amount of work to support those that do get into debt and financial problem within the council. They have a very hard job at times, and they do it very well, and I look forward to working with them to move forward and be able to implement these 6 steps. I know that I've been offered a meeting with the team to come in and discuss how it takes forward, and look forward to taking forward the offer of help from the opposition to develop policies and getting this done as quickly and as soon as possible, because it's one of these things that can't wait any longer, and I feel like we need to get moving on this. So I'll start by going in with the officers and working on that and take up the support of the opposition on that. So thank you to everyone for participating. I think it will help those that are most vulnerable in our town.
Councillor Bailey.
Head right.
No, it shouldn't.
It's called the English. Over to the vote.
Can I move the motion? And those in favour? That is carried. The second motion is...